Welcome to this chat with Fabio Ledda and Paola Bellosta. I am Michela Denti, and today we will talk about why and how to communicate to support research. So Fabio Ledda is Program Manager for Research and Innovation at the Department CIBIO. He holds a PhD in Marine Sciences from the University of Genova. And in the past, he has done research in marine invertebrates biodiversity, biology, and biotechnology potential. He then went for a master in open innovation and knowledge transfer. And today, since 7 years now, he's working on research project management and technology transfer at the Department CIBIO. So welcome, Fabio.
Welcome, everybody.
And hello, Paola. So Fabio, where do you work in research?
Thank you, Michela and Paola, for inviting me to talk with you today. Where I work in research, as said, I work at CIBIO, the Department for Biomedical Research of University of Trento, that has a unique organization as an international biomedical research center, organized with 4 main research programs focusing on cancer, on cell and molecular biology, on neurobiology and development, and on microbiology, and paired with a research infrastructure organized in core facilities that owns all the cutting edge and unique technologies needed to perform research projects in the biomedical domain. This is a brief overview of the products of research from CIBIO in the last years. CIBIO was born by the funding of the Autonomous Province of Trento that invested in the founding of this the center of made an investment of more than 10 million euro. In the same period of investment, the research activities of the department brought back a research portfolio of more than 35 million euros, so more than 2 times of the investment from the local government. Here you can see listed all the agencies who funded research projects within CIBIO, and I have to say that is the fundamental part in the activities of researchers and of all the functioning of all the infrastructure of the department. So this is to say that this is the environment where I work. My work is finalized indeed to support the research department in trying to find and to raise funds to perform research activities within the department.
Excellent, Fabio. And so why funds for research? So why we need money, or as a scientist, we need money for performing research?
Well, we have to say that biomedical research is one of the most expensive activities in the research domain, given that we have to run sophisticated technologies and to pay competitive salaries to competitive researchers. And so to get results, to find new cures for the citizens and new therapies and services to be transferred to the healthcare systems, we have to invest a lot of resources, human resources, but even tangible resources. So when we perform biomedical research, we have high costs that we cannot find in other domains so high. For instance, we have, as I said, to cover the salary of all the researchers intervening in the research projects, to pay high cost of reagents that we use currently in biomedical research for molecular biology, for cellular biology, that has a high cost. and then to cover costs for the running and maintenance of large equipments and facilities, as we have seen in the model of CIBIO we have. And for this reason, we can say that what we have to cover and to look to perform biomedical research are to cover all these costs. And this is the main reason that we researchers need to get funds and to perform research projects in our domain.
Who funds research in CIBIO, but also in general?
Well, first of all, let's say that we have to recognize the different categories of research depending on the scope of our questions and on the aims that you want to reach when we perform research. We can recognize fundamental research, that is the research performed in academic environment mainly, and it is the research that generates scientific models and generate knowledge that can then be transferred to the to other systems. Generally, this kind of research is funded by the public system, but not only, and we'll see later on what does it mean. Then we can recognize applied research that is a category of research that try to meet and is performed to meet some identified and unmet need. This kind of research generate technological projects and is performed through technological projects and generate technological innovation, and is the result of the transfer knowledge generated from fundamental research. Generally, applied research can be funded both by public and private entities. Then we have the industrial research that is the category of research that results from the process of technological transfer and generate economic impact in the industry and in society. This kind of research is finalized to develop new products or services that arrive then to the market, and generally are funded by private entities. In our case at CIBIO, in biomedical research in general, one of the main sources in funding research projects are charities and foundation organizations. Charities are those organizations, such in the Italian case, the most famous are l'Associazione Italiana per la Ricerca sul Cancro, AIRC, and the Teleton Foundations that respectively funds research on cancer and on genetic diseases. And we have other similar example of this kind of organization coming especially from the US. This organization raise funds from donations of people who want to support research activities to find cures for specific diseases. And those organizations manage all these donations to allocate research funds to researchers on the basis of calls for research projects. In the same way, we can get, through calls for research projects, we can get funds for research from the governments, especially in the case of the Italian government, and in our domain from the Ministry of the Research and the Ministry of Health. And while in the European domain, we can refer to the framework program for research and innovation from the European Commission. Actually, we are at the end of the program, of the 7 years program of the framework program Horizon 2020, and we are entering with a new year in in a new European research and innovation program that will be called Horizon Europe. Then, as governmental funding, we can refer even to the NIH, the National Institute of Health, if we aim to compete to get funds from the US government. And all these mechanisms, all these agencies allocate funds to researchers, as I was saying, through programs, work programs, and call for projects that are launched periodically by each entity. Research groups replies to these calls with project proposals that are aims to propose a solution to the call, to the challenge that each organization, each funding organization is launching. And this is essentially essentially my work. Indeed, I routinely support researchers in developing this kind of proposal to get funds from different funding agencies.
Okay, thank you, Fabio. And so, why communicating for research is important then?
Communicating for research and communicating research and communicating for research, first of all, is important in the framework of research projects and research activities to arrive and to transfer and to transfer the knowledge and the activities we are performing within research projects to the community and to the stakeholders. But even to engage the same community and stakeholder in the activities we perform. Within each research project is foreseen the preparation and the development of a communication plan that aims to enroll within all the research project activities aiming to engage the community in the research activities. In this framework, we are in a new era where the concept of citizen science is embracing these activities, meaning that the engagement of the community, of the citizen, even in deploying all the resources we can get to reach our aims in research activities, are more and more including and engaging even the citizen that can not only get information and communication on our research in order to try to transfer and have an impact on this community, but they can be even actively engaged to produce and bring a benefit to the research activities itself. And this is a new concept of the last years that is more and more entering in the routinely activities of research, especially in those kind of activities that engage directly citizen, such in the case of the biomedical research that engage, for instance, patients in the activities. Patients generate information for the researchers and can participate in this sense actively in the research activities by interacting directly with the researchers and bringing new information related to their diseases. This happens in the framework of research projects, but even in the framework of the management of a research center, communication activities of research are really important, given that a good and elaborated communication plan for a research center is very important in order to get visibility with the community, but even with the stakeholders, and engage to this end communication managers that are devoted to develop these communication plans, but even to implement this communication in the routine activities of the research center. Then, besides research projects and research activities, why communicating research is to perform advocacy toward actions toward funding agencies, for instance, and all those stakeholders who may benefit of our research or may who can interact with our research activities. Let's say that especially is important for a researcher, for a research group, or even at a local level or national level to provide to funding agency some directions and some indications on strategies to adopt to support research. This is made, for instance, in the case of the framework program of the European Union for Research and Innovation, how researchers can interact with the European Commission in different ways in order to provide directions and information in order to facilitate the process of defining priorities and strategies in funding research. This is made, for instance, through position papers that are made by research groups, by network of researchers, even by national agencies, international agencies. This action of advocacy may be performed even toward other funding agencies, such big foundations funding biomedical research, in order to provide them with the necessary information in order to fix strategic priorities for funding research. There are many channels that can be used in this sense, that includes even workshops that engages stakeholders and funding agencies in trying to delivering the message of which topics of research are important or are fundamental to fix some priorities, even through conferences or using articles and disseminating articles, scientific articles toward the funding agencies. And is important even in this process to engage with all the healthcare systems, but even in the with the patients, in order to make the message more stronger as possible.
So, to whom do we communicate research?
Well, the stakeholders are many, different stakeholders in the biomedical domain. First of all, as said, we need to communicate toward patients and consumers in order to make the community available of all the possibility innovation we can generate in the healthcare systems. Research funders, as we have said, is important to communicate with the clinicians for those researchers performing biomedical research, especially for those researchers performing fundamental studies and applied research in the biomedical domain, in the moment when this knowledge generated by fundamental applied research needs to be transferred to the clinics in order to make some experiments and make some further studies in order to translate our fundamental studies in real therapies for the citizens. In this sense, this communication include even healthcare providers who are those entities that are translating the results in clinics in real and immediate healthcare services for the citizens. And then other stakeholders, such other researchers, so the researcher communities, because we have to communicate to them, to disseminate to them our knowledge. This is obviously done through scientific publications, workshops, conferences, but even through more direct and generalistic channels that are mainly communicated to public engagement or to communication. Then we have even other stakeholders such policymakers and regulators, meaning policymakers are, for instance, European Commission in our case, who are those politicians that fix the priorities to support research and innovation in the European Union. And regulators, meaning the regulatory frameworks, given that we are working in producing new therapies that needs to be validated in a clinical assets and needs to meet regulations, national and international regulation, in order to be translated in real drugs or cures or therapies used in the hospitals. And finally, one other important stakeholder of the activities from biomedical research is the life science industry, given that, as we have seen, through applied research, and so the generation of new technologies and the translation of these technologies toward the industry, we can generate economic impact, an economic impact that can make profit for the life science industry, and generate even socio-economical impact. So another channel of communication is important channel of communication in the life science industry. For instance, the translation and the technological transfer, in the translation of research results in economic impact and the technological transfer are part of another mission of the university, besides education and research. That is indeed the third mission, that is performed mainly through the technological transfer process. So stemming from what we discover in research results, how we can protect and generate intellectual property, and how we can translate this intellectual property in business through marketing, licensing, and development of new products. This is the technological transfer process, and includes different communication strategies that needs to be adopted to those companies we would like to attract toward our research portfolio, our patent portfolio, for instance, in order to market our intellectual properties, our patents, but even to promote the creation of academy and industry collaboration that may generate the economic impact that the university even aims to perform. So in this sense, communication is important at different level. Then when we have a technology mature to reach the market, we will have even to attract the interest of investors, and then we will engage in other activities of communication in order to convince people in investing in our idea and translating it in technologies, product or services or process to arrive then in the market. So this is a process where ideas and research results are then translated and transferred as innovation in the economy and essentially in the life science industry. That, of course, needs a strategic communication even to this end.
Okay.
Thank you, Fabio, for your nice presentation. And Fabio is, of course, available to answer questions that students might have. And you can see here his email address where you can send him questions that he will answer in writing or by, sharing his answer on a video or so. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Paola, for being here, and see you next time.
Okay.
Thank you again for inviting me.
Bye.
Bye.